The hidden language of the soul who read the shining gateway is to walk through an allegorical landscape where every word is a signpost pointing toward something greater than itself. James Allen, like all true mystics, understands that the deepest truths cannot be captured in blunt declarations. They must be unveiled through symbol, metaphor, and the quiet resonance of parable. His work operates on two levels: the surface, where principles are stated plainly, and the subterranean, where archetypes dance in the shadows, waiting to be recognized. The gateway as initiation, the central symbol of the book The Shining Gateway, itself is no mere decorative image. It is an echo of the ancient mystery traditions, where gates and thresholds represented the irreversible passage from one state of being to another. In Egyptian mythology, the soul passed through 12 gates in the underworld. In the Kabbalah, the tree of life is entered through the straight gate of spiritual discipline. Allen's gateway belongs to this lineage. It is the moment of metanoia, the Greek term for a transformation so profound it alters the very structure of perception. But notice its brilliance. A gateway that shines is not hidden in some remote heaven. It radiates, calling to those who have eyes to see. This light is not external, but emanates from within the seeker's own awakening consciousness. The paradox is exquisite. The gateway is both a destination and a reflection of the traveler's readiness to enter. The alchemist's furnace. Allen's language often smolders with the imagery of alchemy, another symbolic system where base elements are transmuted into gold. The human soul, in his view, is the prima materia, the raw substance awaiting purification. Suffering is not meaningless torment, but the necessary fire that burns away illusion. Consider his description of sorrow. The fire of suffering burns up the dross of self, leaving only the pure gold of wisdom. Here, suffering is not a punishment, but a crucible, and the self is not an enemy, but an ore to be refined. This is no passive process. The alchemist must tend the flames with unwavering attention. Likewise, the seeker must engage with their trials, consciously, not to escape them, but to be forged anew in their heat. The mirror and the lamp, two recurring motifs in Allen's work, are the mirror and the lamp. The mirror reflects what is the unvarnished truth of one's current state, without flattery or condemnation. The lamp, by contrast, is the light of wisdom that guides the way forward. Most people live their lives avoiding the mirror, preferring the comfortable darkness of self-deception. But the disciple of truth gazes into it unflinchingly, for only by seeing clearly can one begin to change. The lamp, then, is the illumined mind, the kindled spark of understanding that makes the path ahead visible. Together, these symbols encapsulate the dual movement of spiritual work: honest self-assessment, followed by purposeful action. The garden of the heart alone frequently employs horticultural metaphors, seed soil, cultivation to illustrate the organic nature of spiritual growth. A thought is a seed. The mind is the soil. Actions are the water and sunlight that determine whether the seed will wither or flourish. But there is a deeper layer here. In esoteric traditions, the garden often represents the heart, the sacred inner space where divinity takes root. The gateway is not merely an intellectual realization, but a flowering, the moment when the seeds of truth burst into bloom. This is why mere knowledge is insufficient. Ideas must be nurtured until they become living truths. As natural and inevitable as a rose unfolding from a bud, the mountain and the summit, another potent symbol, is the mountain, representing the arduous ascent to wisdom. Many set out to climb, few reach the summit. The path is steep, the air grows thin, and the temptation to turn back is constant. Yet Alan insists that the mountain is not an obstacle, but a revelation. Each step upward strips away another layer of illusion, until at last the climber stands not above the world, but sees it clearly for the first time. The summit is not a place of isolation, but of expanded vision. From its heights, the distinctions that seemed so vital, success and failure, friend and enemy, gain and loss, are revealed as fleeting shadows. The gateway, then, is not a door in the sky, but a shift in perspective, the moment when the seeker realizes they were never climbing toward the light, but from within it all along. The silent watcher, perhaps the most enigmatic symbol in Alan's work, is the silent watcher, the presence within that observes, without judgment, the witness behind, the fluctuations of thought and emotion. This is not the busy, calculating mind, but the deeper self, the spark of the divine that remains untouched by circumstance. To recognize the silent watcher is to realize that one is not the storm, but the sky that holds it. This is the true meaning of mastery, not control over external events, but sovereignty over the inner world. The gateway shines brightest when the seeker steps back from identification with the transient and rests in the awareness that was there before the first thought arose and will remain after the last thought fades. The invitation, these symbols, are not mere literary devices. They are living gateways in their own right, each offering a key to deeper understanding. Alan's genius lies in his ability to weave them into a coherent map, one that does not dictate the path, but illuminates the landmarks along the way. To engage with these narratives is not to decode a puzzle, but to allow them to decode us, to dissolve the rigid structures of thought that keep us from the light. The symbols are mirrors, and what they reveal depends on the purity of our gaze.